If you're riding solo, if you've got a small team, you can maybe think that this type of thing is an added expense that you don't know. You might think, I know where my business needs to go, I know what I need to do, but I guarantee there'll be things that are picked up by a non-exec director that you hadn't thought of, or they're using their experience to say, this worked in this particular case.
A non-exec is sometimes someone that just holds up a mirror and asks you questions about what you can see and where you can see yourself going, not necessarily opening up windows of opportunity, but a mirror of reflection.
It is an expense, but fundamentally the amount of money sort of saved from mistakes that you might have done without this type of guidance and advice should outweigh the cost of actually bringing someone like this in. For those that don't know what a non-exec is, it's a non-executive director. And essentially what you're looking for with that is someone that's been there, done that. They've been in business sphere, business industry for a while. They've seen a lot of businesses. They've seen a lot of successes and they've seen a lot of failures. And their goal really is to take a helicopter view and ask the difficult questions about your business, the stuff that you don't always talk about internally, you sort of know is there, and maybe you should be doing something to improve profitability or have that awkward conversation with one of the team members, but you sort of don't do it because nobody's pushing you to do it. You know it's the right thing, but you just don't have that nudge. And that's what the non-executive director is there for. It's to ask the difficult questions and hopefully give you the guidance to steer your business in the right direction for the short term and the long term. And we typically do these every quarter. We might have a face-to-face, which we did today, every quarter, and then a catch up every maybe month or 6 weeks on a Zoom call just to check in and look at some of the clear actions that you've set yourselves. If you're riding solo, if you've got a small team, you can maybe think that this type of thing is an added expense that you don't know. You might think, I know where my business needs to go, I know what I need to do, but I guarantee there'll be things that are picked up by a non-exec director that you hadn't thought of, or they're using their experience to say, this worked in this particular case, but have you thought about doing it this way, which one of my other businesses did, or one of my other contacts did, and it's a direction that you might not have thought of. So it is an expense, but fundamentally the amount of money sort of saved from mistakes that you might have done without this type of guidance and advice, should outweigh the cost of actually bringing someone like this in. If you've not got a non-exec, or you can have a non-exec director, I would wholeheartedly kind of recommend at least looking for some sort of business coaching. And for the last, I would say 5 years, I've had business coaches in pretty much all of my businesses, ranging from probably 400 quid a month to a couple of grand a month, depending on sort of the level of input and what you need. But without somebody else taking an outside view of everything that's going on in your business, I guarantee that you will be making decisions that are hard decisions, but the right decisions. You are not taking the steps or not taking the decisions that are the right thing for your business, but are hard decisions to do because nobody's there to kind of push you and nudge you and actually sort of have that hard conversation. So that's what a non-exec is.
Sorry to interrupt. If you're new here, this video has probably been pulled from one of our live video broadcasts where we show insights into our 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses. We're live every week showing the inner workings of our business, sharing tips, templates, and strategies that you can take away and use in your own business to help you grow and be more profitable. If you've not checked it out yet, head over to the live section on our YouTube channel where you can see all of the back catalog of videos where we cover everything that you need to be a successful entrepreneur and a property developer. Back to the video.
Have you ever seen a business owner that you just see them, like a good friend of mine, Dorian, he's just got so much clarity, and that is because he bounces ideas off people. He doesn't get that clarity from just waking up and be like, I know exactly what I'm going to do because that's what I think we should do. The phrase, all of us are smarter than one of us, and that is completely true. Perspective, view, age, risk appetite, creativity, personality traits, all of these things you need to try and test. And the best entrepreneurs out there ask people that they meet, what are you seeing in the market? What would you do in this situation? How do you feel about this? And actually, that's why some people on the spectrum, like my friend Johnny, he's really good at business because he asks so many questions. Like when I meet with him, I feel like he's got 50 questions saved in his notes on his phone. And he's like, what would you do in this scenario? What would you do in that scenario? And I don't ask him any questions. I'm like, cool, I need to come prepared with these questions. But what I love about our non-exec sessions is sometimes it's even me asking Ben the question or Ben asking me the question. But because we're out of the business, we're not looking at head in our emails. We're not distracted day to day. This is a strategy meeting and we have to focus on strategy. We drive understandings and productivity and ideas that we wouldn't get in the day-to-day. And the reason I put a plus and minus on the screen is zooming out to zoom in. That is a phrase that I learned on the Goldman Sachs course. I love it. You have to zoom out to zoom in. And we did exactly that today on every business. And sometimes the business coach or the non-exec or even your friend is not actually the one doing the actual answering. They're doing the questioning. And a lot of people have said before that a non-exec is sometimes someone that just holds up a mirror and asks you questions about what you can see and where you can see yourself going, not necessarily opening up windows of opportunity, but a mirror of reflection. And that's really, really key. A friend of mine who runs a successful property business in Australia, Big John, he asked me, should he have a non-exec? And I was like, well, do you have any form of advisory in your business? So I don't want our listeners to get caught up with the phrase non-exec advisor. It's very formal, very corporate, very suit and tie. And it's not that. That's not what we're getting at. We're talking about advisory in your business. And the principle of it is you need someone to bounce ideas off, a minimum of one person, a maximum of as many as you like, because you kind of need that advisory person. And that could be a friend, that could be another successful business owner. You know, my dad, when he was growing his business, he lent on the experience of another entrepreneur that was a lot older than him. And that was his sort of guidance, but it was a very informal setup. And my response to my friend who's operating in Australia is, yes, you need an advisor. And then he said, well, how much should I spend? And I said, well, if you work out, like, let's say your business is netting a profit of 250K. If you want to take that to 2.5 million quid, do you really think you're going to get there unless you're investing some of that 250K for next year's growth and next year's growth and next year's growth? And what you may find is when you are then netting 2.5 million quid, you might need a completely different person to take you to 25 million quid. I think it should all be relative to where you're at. If you're running a bakery turning over 100 grand a year, you could probably lean on a successful business owner that's local and not actually pay them. If you're trying to grow a development company like ours, we've got someone from a business background with financial understanding to really help us get to grips with what we're operating and how we're running it and where the cash flow management comes from, because that is a big problem in big development companies that have a group structure. But then again, to give you an example, another advisory that we have in our business is our tax advisor. He's a paid tax advisor. He does all of our accounts. And if I want his opinion, he will answer his honest view.
If you got value from this video, make sure you click the subscribe button down below and ring the notification bell, because we release one video at least every week, so you'll be the first to get notified. See you on the next one.